I start this video in the name of God, the most merciful and the most magnificent. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Usman Ali Khan and you are watching Astrological Guidance. In today's video, our topic is Mercury retrograde. Mercury is about to turn into its retrograde motion around 10th of November and will stay retrograde till 30th November 2025. So in this video, we will cover what will be the result of Mercury retrograde for every ascendant in the month of November. First of all, we will talk about Aries. For all the Aries ascendant people, Mercury is about to turn into its retrograde motion into your 8th house in the sign of Scorpio, where Mars is already transiting. So, Mercury in your chart generally controls your communication because Mercury is the controller of your third house and your sixth house. Communication, your efforts, your hand skill, your all type of verbal communication, your younger brother and sister, etc. Sixth house is your conflicts, your daily routine in context of work, your debt, your loans, your court cases. All the confrontation is seen from your sixth house. So Mercury, being your third house and sixth house lord, is right now moving into your eighth house and about to turn into its retrograde motion with Mars. So for all the Aries ascendant people, first of all, you need to be very careful when you are dealing with your in-laws and your younger brothers and sisters. Because when Mercury will be in its retrograde motion, there is a lot of chances you may indulge into some argumentative communication and some disturbing result with your younger brothers and sisters, cousins, and your neighbors because Mercury will be in its retrograde motion and whenever Mercury will be moving in its retrograde motion, there is a high possibility you may indulge into some conflict. You may do some mistakes into your communication, into your written work or your documentations. And also for your chart, Mercury is the controller of your sixth house of conflicts and moving with Mars into your eighth house. When Mercury will be in its retrograde motion, you may have to get aggressive time to time with your communication, and because Mars has anger, Mars may give you the ability to do aggressive communication because Mars is in its own sign, into sign of Scorpio and in the eighth house. So there will be some tough situation for you people regarding your communication related matter when Mercury will be in its retrograde motion. Try to not communicate too much and try to do not make any commitment till Mercury moving in its retrograde motion. Rest we can expect great result. Also try to control your communication with your in-laws if you have in-laws into your life, like you're married and you have any connection to your spouse's family, to try to control your communication because there is a high possibility you may indulge into some argumentative communication with your in-laws. So we can expect these results for ascendant people when Mercury will be in its retrograde motion. Now let's talk about Taurus ascendant. For Taurus ascendant people, Mercury is the controller of your second house and your fifth house. Means your speech, your savings, your bank account, your family matters, and your early upbringing, etc. Fifth house is your children, your love relationship, your girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, your mental abilities, your planning abilities. And Mercury is about to turn into its retrograde motion into your seventh house along with Mars. And Mars is very in a strong position into your seventh house. So Mercury is about to turn into its retrograde motion around 9th November till 29th of November into your seventh house. So seventh house is the house of spouse, house of commitments, house of legal bindings, house of business partnership, how you will meet others, how others perceive you when you will meet others is seen from your seventh house. So regarding all of that matter, you first of all you need to be very careful when you're dealing with your spouse because Mars is anger and right now in a strong position. So your spouse and your opposite partner may have their own say. They want to prove their point in the argument if you have to encounter any communication disturbance and argument. So it's your job to cooperate with your partner and with your opposite partner or with your business partner if they have differentiation of point of view. Try to appreciate their point of view, not indulge into argumentation because Mercury, whenever Mercury will be in retrograde motion, there will be a very miscommunication and there is a lot of chances of argumentation and disturbance with your spouses. So try to be very careful regarding all of that matter because 10th house Rahu and 4th house Ketu also creating disturbance at your workplace and your home. So be prepared to avoid argumentation with your partner or your business partner, etc. For Gemini ascendant people, Mercury is your ascendant lord and your fourth house lord. And right now, transiting into your sixth house, at the house of conflict, with Mars is in a strong position into your sixth house because Scorpio sign comes into your sixth house, and Mars is the lord of Scorpio sign. And your ascendant lord is right now transiting from your sixth house with sixth house lord Mars. And Mercury is about to turn into its retrograde motion around 9th November till 29th of November, as we discussed previously in November monthly prediction video. So, for all the Gemini ascendant people, your ascendant lord will be in its retrograde motion and with aggressive planet Mars. So, you in the house of conflict. So, if you are facing some conflict, there will be a high possibility you will be indulged into some conflict, some argumentation. Maybe you previously facing some court case litigation argument in your life. So, till 9th November, till 29th of November, you need to be very careful. Try to postpone the date of your court dates, or if you're having any conflict, so try to postpone these things because there will be a high possibility you will have make mistakes into your communication or your documentations, because sixth house is the house of conflicts, and if you are in conflict right now and you are in doing some competitive exam, etc., then there is a high possibility you may have to face disturbing results. So be very careful regarding all of that matters. And Mars being in a strong into your sixth house, your opposite entities like your enemies and your competitor will be also in a strong person, will be in a strong man, because Mars is in a strong position. Sixth house is right now in a strong position. That's why your enemies will also be in a strong state. So try to control your communication till Mercury will be moving in retrograde motion, and also if you are facing some conflict, some argument, some court cases, try to postpone the date of your conflicts after Mercury come back to its direct motion. That will be a very beneficial position for you people. So we can expect these results for Gemini ascendant people. For Cancer ascendant people, Mercury is the controller of your 12th house and your third house. Expenses, losses, daily basis expenses, isolation, hospitalization, donation, your spirituality is seen from 12th house, etc. etc. Your imagination, your sleep pattern is also represented by 12th house. Third house is your communication, your efforts, how much effort you can put in anything, how courageous you are, how hardworking you are, your hand skills, cousins, neighbors, childhood friends, etc. represented by your third house. So your 12th house and third house lord is about to turn into its retrograde motion into your fifth house around 9th November till 29th of November, and Mercury will be in with Mars into your fifth house, and Mars in a strong position in its own sign into your fifth house. So what is fifth house is your children's, your love relationship, your girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, your mental ability, your planning abilities, how smart you are, how genius you are, how fast you can learn things, etc. So when Mercury will moving in its retrograde motion into your fifth house, being your house of 12th house, there is a high possibility you may lack learning ability during this time. Yeah, you may feel disturbing result, you may feel lacking into your learning ability, you may forget things quickly when you try to focusing on things, because Mercury being your 12th house lord, imagination's lord, in the house of learning ability, planning ability, will be moving in its retrograde motion. So there is a high possibility you may get disturbing result regarding your learning ability. Also, Mercury is a controller of your third house, your quick ideas, your efforts, your you will put effort into its retrograde motion, but try to control your efforts because Mars is in a strong position. If you have any kids, you have any sincere love relationship, then try to control your communication disturbance with them, because there is a high possibility you may indulge into arguments with them, and secondly, you may lack into your learning ability whatever you are doing. If you are in education life or high school or higher education, then still try to wait till Mercury come back to its direct motion. Before that, you may have to face some disturbing result regarding your learning ability and planning abilities. So don't confuse a lot. Give some time till Mercury come back to its direct motion. Things will be in a normal pace. For Leo ascendant people, Mercury is the controller of your 11th house and your second house. 11th house is your gains, your recognition, your support system. hopes and wishes, fulfillment of hopes and wishes. And second house is your earnings, your gain, your savings, your bank account, your pocket, how wealthy you are seen from your second house, your family matters, your early upbringing, your speech, your mouth region, etc. So Mercury is about to move into its retrograde motion into your fourth house, with Mars is moving into your fourth house in its own sign. So Mercury is about to turn into its retrograde motion around 9th November till 29th of November. So during this period, there is a lot of chances into your home where you live with. You need to be very careful regarding argumentation because Mars is anger and Mars is in a strong sign in its own sign, and Mercury will about to turn into its retrograde motion, which generally controls your communication, your all the documentation, your online communication, etc. All the communication related things, any type of communication is threatened by Mercury. So when Mercury will be in its retrograde motion along with Mars into your fourth house, there is a more possibility you may have argumentative communication, or there will be a fight within your home with your homies. So try to avoid that thing. How can you avoid that thing? You can avoid that thing by focusing on to relate, by focusing on 11th house thing. What is 11th house thing? 11th house things are gains, desire, friend circle, your support system, and secondly your savings, your money matters. So try to focus on these things if you are facing. So try to focus on these two things if you will facing a lot of difficult result at your home, because there is a lot of possibility you will face difficult result at your home, like confrontation, argumentation. So try to avoid that things, especially till 29th of November, till Mercury moving in its retrograde motion. For Virgo ascendant people, Mercury is your ascendant lord and also controls your 10th house. Means your work and your ascendant is controlled by Mercury. And Mercury is right now transiting from your third house in its retrograde motion after 9th November till 29th of November. So this video is about Mercury retrograde motion. What will be the result of Mercury retrograde for every ascendant? So right now we are talking about Virgo ascendant. So for Virgo ascendant people, Mercury into your third house in its retrograde motion may give you some communication disturbance, because third house is the house of communication, house of effort, house of hardworking ability. And when your ascendant lord will be in its retrograde motion into your third house, in the house of communication with the planet of aggression Mars, there is a high possibility you may indulge into some communication disturbance, some argumentation, some confrontation with your cousins, neighbors, childhood friends, or your younger brother if you have younger brothers and sisters. Try to control on these things. Also, avoid any documentation, important documentation during Mercury retrograde motion, because there is a high possibility you will make mistake and you may miss some important point during your documentations. So try to avoid that thing. Rest, there will be a balance result. Also, be careful when you are dealing with your bosses at your workplace, because Mercury also controls your 10th house and will be moving in retrograde motion into your third house with the planet of aggression. So your bosses may get angry time to time with you, or may understand you wrongly, so they will become angry to you. So don't worry about that. This is just a temporary situation and things will get better when Mercury will come back to its direct motion. For Libra ascendant people, Mercury is the controller of your 12th house and your ninth house. And Mercury is about to turn into its retrograde motion into your second house with Mars. So, what is second house? Your savings, your bank account, your money matters, your family relationship, etc. And 12th house is your expenses, losses, daily basis expenses, isolations, hospitalizations, foreign land, spirituality, donations. Ninth house, long distance travel, following the rules and regulation, especially man-made rules and regulations seen from ninth house. Your teachers, mentor, teachings of your father is seen from ninth house. Your how lucky you are seen from your ninth house. So ninth house and 12th house Lord moving in its retrograde motion into your second house, the house of saving, house of money matter, house of bank account, house of family, house of mouth region, your food intake habit, your tongue is seen from second house. So when Mercury will be in retrograde motion with Mars into your second house in the planet of aggression and controlling your 12th house, there is a high possibility your daily basis expenses will increase in the month of November till Mercury will be moving in its retrograde motion. Also, there is a high possibility from your family, from your childhood family, like where your upbringing will happen in the past. From these people you may have to face some argumentation conflict, so try to avoid that thing. This will just a temporary thing and things will be a lot better after Mercury come back to its direct motion. Being your ninth house lord, there's also try to control your anger with your teachers, mentor, guider, advisor. Rest we can expect good result in the Mercury retrograde motion. Also try to avoid any documentation, important documentation. Don't commit anything important during Mercury retrograde motion, and don't argue a lot with your family members, especially your mother, father, etc. Now, for all the Scorpio ascendant people, Mercury is the controller of your 11th house and your 8th house, and about to turn into its retrograde motion into your first house, means into your ascendant. And your ascendant is right now in a strong position, beside the fact that Mars, your ascendant lord, is right now in ascendant. So 11th house is your gains, your hopes and wishes, fulfillment of your hopes and wishes, your support system, your elder brother and sisters, your achievements. All of these things is represented by 11th house. And your 8th house is your secretive activities, your sexual organ, sexual relationship, your secretive, all the secretive activities you do is seen from your 8th house. Your longevity, your chronic diseases, your ups and downs in life, major transformation is seen from your 8th house. So, Lord of your 8th house and 11th house about to turn into its retrograde motion till 9th of November. So, during this period, you need to be very careful. First of all, regarding all the documentation, all the verbal communication, and all the emailing, texting, all the sources of communication will be affected when Mercury will be in its retrograde motion. And your gains. Let's suppose you have a deal with someone and there is a chances you may get the profit. But when Mercury will be in its retrograde motion, there is a high possibility you may have to face delays, you may have to face confrontation, you may have to face some disturbance regarding your gains related matter. Because Mercury will be in its retrograde motion, and as we discussed previously in many videos, whenever any planet turned into its retrograde motion, its effect will be double. Either it was previously giving good result or bad result. But with the planet of aggression, Mars, into your first house, there is a high possibility you may involve into some confrontation, argumentation with others, especially with your opposite partner, like your spouse, because Mercury and Mars, both the planet aspecting to your seventh house. And seventh house is the house of your spouse, your legal bindings, your agreemented thing, etc. So be very careful regarding all of that matter. And eighth house also deal with sudden events. So there will be a high possibility suddenly you may indulge into some argumentative communication. Not a physical fight, but also a communication, because Mercury is generally control your communication things. For Sagittarius ascendant people, Mercury is the controller of your 10th house and your 7th house, and about to turn into its retrograde motion into your 12th house is the house of expenses, house of daily basis expenses, your losses, your long-term investment, how you perceive things is seen from your 12th house, your spirituality, your donation, long-term investment, etc. And all the matters related to foreign land seen from your 12th house, your sleep pattern, your dreams, your so Mercury with Mars about to turn into its retrograde motion into your 12th house. Mars is the planet of aggression, and in the house of loss, there is a high possibility you may enter into some verbal communication, verbal argumentation with your bosses, because Mercury controls your 10th house. 10th house is your superior, your bosses, whoever in the authority right now is seen from your 10th house. So, into your 12th house, there is a high possibility you may have to face confrontation, and there will be a loss for you if you indulge into some argumentation. So try to control your communication abilities and try to control argumentation. Try to avoid a lot of communication with your superior bosses till Mercury is moving in its retrograde motion. And if you face any disturbing result, try to postpone, try to manage these things, like this will just a temporary thing, and you will get over this thing when Mercury will come back to its direct motion. For Capricorn ascendant people, Mercury is the controller of your ninth house and your sixth house. Means your conflict, your sixth house, and your ninth house is your teaching of your fathers, your teachers, mentor, guider, advisors, your long distance travel, following the rules and regulation, etc. Your second marriage is also seen from your ninth house. So Mercury will be moving in the house of gains into your 11th house with Mars in a strong position into your 11th house. So if you face some disturbing result regarding your teachers, mentor, and your all the teacher figures into your life or father figure into your life, try to control your communication abilities, not indulge into argumentation with them, and try to postpone the many interaction with them till Mercury moving in its retrograde motion. Because eventually, if you meet a lot, there will be a high possibility you may indulge into some argumentation or confrontation with them. Because Mercury also control your house of conflicts. Your gains will be okay, whatever you are doing, because 11th house in a strong position, but just be careful when you're dealing with your teachers and father figure into your life, because conflict will be at its peak in the Mercury retrograde period. Aquarius, for all the Aquarius and people, Mercury is the controller of your eighth house and your fifth house. Means your children, your love relationship, your girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, your mental abilities, your fun activities, all the speculations is seen from your fifth house. And eighth house, as we discussed previously, eighth house is longevity, chronic diseases, your ups and downs, etc. So Mercury is about to turn into its retrograde motion into your house of authority, house of bosses, house of your all the work, whatever you are doing, your job is seen from 10th house, how good you are into your work, how far you can go into your career. So Mercury is about to turn into its retrograde motion in the house of your work, and 10th house is right now in a strong position. You will get good result, you will be okay at your workplace, you may get some increment promotion because Mercury will give good result being in a retrograde motion into your 10th house. Beside all the houses, 10th house will be the great placement for Mercury retrograde motion for all the Aquarius ascendant people, because Rahu is right now transiting from your first house and giving you strength to do effort. And at your workplace into your 10th house, Mars will give you passion, aggression to do a lot of effort and get what you want to do at your workplace and achieve what you want to achieve. Till 29th of November, from 9th November till 29th of November, just control your communication, because Mercury generally controls communication, and into your chart is also very highly depends on your communication, because Mercury will be into your 10th house. And for 10th house, Mercury will aspect to your 4th house and affect your emotional condition, your emotional satisfaction will get disturbed if you indulge into argument with your superior, with your bosses. So try to control these things. Rest we can assure there will be a good result for all the Aquarius ascendant people. For Pisces ascendant people, Mercury is a controller of your fourth house and your seventh house, means your homes, your properties, your vehicles, and seventh house is your relationship, your spouse, your business partnership, etc. Lord will be about to turn into its retrograde motion into your ninth house with Mars. First of all, ninth house is the house of rules and regulation, house of travel, house of how fortunate you are in this life is seen from your ninth house, your long distance travel, your teachers, mentor, coaches, etc. Your higher education means your post-grad education is also represented by ninth house and your travel. So being your fourth house and seventh house lord moving into great motion into your ninth house, there is a high possibility you may indulge into some argumentation, confrontation, and may have to face difference of opinion with your spouse and with your homies. Because Mercury is a natural lord of communication, and in your chart also controls the house of emotions and house of relationship. So beside your emotional relationship and your general relationship, you need to be very careful and try to avoid argumentation with them. And if you have to face some difference of opinion, try to support that difference point of differentiation with them. And after Mercury come back to its direct motion, things will be okay and you will have satisfied with your decisions. If you argue, if you confront, also if you also do argumentation with them, there will be a more aggressive relationship or more aggressive result for you people, because Mars is moving with Mercury into your ninth house and Mars is the planet of aggression. And also if you are in education life, because ninth house is the house of postgrad education and higher education. If you are doing some research studies, you're doing doctorate degree or some engineer degree, there will be a high possibility your teachers may give you a hard time during this time period. So try to be very careful when you're dealing with your teachers, your mentors, your guides. Rest after Mercury come back to its direct position, there will be a also supportive and good result for your people from your teachers, mentor, guide, and advisors. So we can expect these results for all the Pisces ascendant people when Mercury will be in its retrograde motion. Our today's video, Mercury retrograde for every ascendant in the month of November ends here. I hope you will like this video and this video will prove very beneficial for you. And if you find this video helpful, then please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. See you in next video. Till that, take care.